Today we're going to be talking about some of the tabletop news that's happened in the past week. First up, some HeroForge news. HeroForge 2.0 is finally out with a ton of new options. There's also a new virtual tabletop contender in the ring called Roll. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And some news about G.I. Joe, Transformers, and My Little Pony RPGs that have been confirmed for 2021. Let's get to it. First up, HeroForge. HeroForge has officially launched their 2.0 version of the popular custom miniature building website that they have, that I'm sure a lot of people have at least heard about, if not played around with. With the 2.0 interface, it's been completely redone to be nice looking, easier to use. There's a ton more options for clothing, item, poses, all that kind of stuff. And the thing everyone has been very excited about and posting tons of pictures of all over Twitter and Instagram is that you can now create your D&D character in full color with texture options for armor and clothing and everything. It's really a lot more than even I thought when I first heard about it. There's so many things you can do with the color. It looks really nice. It actually makes me want to finally jump back into HeroForge and make something that I might want to actually keep. You know, like a lot of people, they just go in and make the 3D models and just look at them because they're nice looking. But now I might actually want to get one. The full color ones, I think the normal sized ones are like $45 or $50.
Yeah.
So that's but it comes already ready to go. Do you guys have you ever made a miniature in HeroForge?
Yes.
Yeah. I made a bunch of them, but even at $25, an unpainted one is still really steep for a 25 mil.
But it's perfectly customized, perfection.
That hurts my wallet.
I know,
So,
but if it's just the one,
is that for miniature that you get physically sent, or is this an STL file you can 3D print yourself?
both. You can 3D print if I know that there is an option that you can get the file so that you can 3D print, but yes, you can get it physically shipped to you, and you can pick different materials.
And I think
as well.
you can just get the 3D print file, and that's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
The STL file.
That's a cool option. Though,
yeah.
Like 10
are
or 15.
3D printers at all easy enough to use for someone like me?
No. Well, I don't know about someone like you. I'm not trying to insult you.
Yeah, well, no, for someone like you, yes, because you would put the time into it and figure it out. It is not necessarily plug and play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're very fiddly. You have to do a lot of work to get them working nicely. If you want the really high resolution, then you're not going to want to go with like the standard like filament plastic printing printers, and you're going to want to go with more of a resin printer because you can't get as much detail in something that's not resin. But
it depends on what you're wanting it for, right? I mean, if you're just wanting some cool representatives, that's like a couple notches up from paper or token representatives for like a D&D game where you're having stuff new every week, then I would say, yeah, it's a great idea, right? Because you can have new stuff every week. You know, as the GM, you can have a fully customizable experience for your players. But if you're the type of person who likes to paint stuff and gets frustrated when there's too many blemishes, then no, it's a little ways away unless you want to make this your hobby, right?
right.
Unless you want this to be, instead of D&D or other gaming, if you want to make 3D printing or resin printing your new hobby, then yes, you can do it.
Yeah, because absolutely it can sometimes take up that much of your time to try to get things working right. Yeah.
You know what would make this even better? If they had the option to do tabletop simulator integration, where you could get the color 3D model as a mod you could use in your own TTS games, with so many people having to play not in person these days. And quite frankly, that's how I have to play anyway if I want to play with my friends who don't live anywhere near me. It just seems like that would be a really cool option.
That would be.
I don't know how viable that would be, but Seems like it should be.
Speaking of virtual tabletops, I'm going to use this as a transition, a
Good
segue. Speaking of virtual tabletops, they're all over the place now. Like every time you turn around, there's a new virtual tabletop out there, and to not disappoint, we have another one called Roll. A new challenger approaches. There's a Roll is a new virtual tabletop contender. It's a web-based virtual tabletop that's hoping to compete with Roll20 for some share of the ever-growing population of online tabletop gamers. Roll's mission statement is to create a next-generation space where people feel safe, welcome, and free to be creative together, where all voices are heard and all stories are valid. They're launching with 3 stated main features of their virtual tabletop that they want to use to sort of set it apart from things like Roll20 and other ones that are out there like Astral that are coming in. First one is an ultra premium marketplace. That's what they call it. It's a place where creators and creations feel like they're meant to be there and not just like thrown in there by anybody. It feels like they have a place there, and also more importantly that anything can be found above the noise that of big giant ones and lots of things out there. So that's cool. A player matching service is the second feature that they have. They call it, they liken it to a dating service to find players who are like-minded like you. From the look of the promo video on Kickstarter, the player matching service will ask you questions like, do you like rules light or crunchy games? It'll ask you examples of games that you enjoy and whether or not you're an experienced GM. Stuff like that to help people find other players. There even seems to be a way to recommend people to say like, hey, I enjoyed playing with this person, and it keeps track of how many people did that. And then finally, the third feature is the table itself. And it seems to be focusing on an experience of playing with other people, right? And to do that, the video chat seems to be a much larger focus front and center as a feature of their tabletop than other ones that we've seen out there like Roll20, which makes it a small part that's there, but maybe isn't a huge prominent feature. They say at launch they'll have a full suite of video chat, character sheet, dice cards, and asset management tools that will run on desktop as well as mobile browsers right out the gate. So that's great. One of the things I really liked about when I was digging around in this, I actually really like these guys, and I'm going to show a little bit of it here on the screen. One thing that I really liked about them was that it seems like they are they're focusing on inclusivity and diversity as a huge goal of theirs. They talk a lot about it, and it really it feels like they're really doubling down on that, and also something, Oz, that you might really like. I know, and also speaks to the mission that we have here, is that they seem to really be all in on trying to give smaller independent games a voice. That's what they seems to be setting them apart from things like Roll20 and even the other ones that are out there. They're saying D&D, it'll be supported out the gate, and it will be the default support on the system on the game if you don't make any changes to it. But they want to make it super easy without you having to know how to code. Super easy for you to make character sheets, custom character sheets, homebrew character sheets, and your custom systems. But also they want to have like lots of highlights for these smaller games like Swords Fall and just other games like that. You know and I like that. I think that's awesome.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about a few weeks ago, that community is really what drives a game to be played, and it doesn't really matter how popular it is or not, right? Like if you have the tools to find people that are willing to play a game that you typically don't get to see played, or that you don't get to bust out, that's awesome. And I love that there's like a little tracker as well for, oh, I liked playing with this person, I recommend playing with this person, because that's always one of the big, like, that's definitely a thing that I know that marginalized communities have a lot of problems with, in the sense of like, it's hard to trust that you're going to have a fun experience when you're being put together in a group that you don't know anything about them. So being able to see like have like a reputation system in place, that is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. Interface looks really sleek too. I really like they're going with a really modern, sleek looking interface that really kind of appeals to me. So I'm really interested.
So is this something that would be a direct competitor just to Roll20 or also to Tabletop Simulator?
Well, they're not doing 3D stuff. It is 2D,
Okay.
more like Roll20. So, but I think they're being smart. I don't think they're trying. Obviously, they're competing with Roll20, but I think they're trying to find a place for themselves beside Roll20.
Like Roll20, they're having a certain free option, right? And then you can.
Yes, there is a
also pay
premium
for
version.
additional-
And to their credit, they're offering a lot more of the options to create custom sheets and stuff like that for free. Roll20, for example, you have to have a premium subscription in order to make custom character sheets.
Yeah, which is so frustrating because when you want to play a game and you're like, I just want this to look nice, especially when we were doing actual plays like constantly, I was like, oh my god, I want to do a really nice character sheet, but I can't.
Right.
So I really like what they're doing here.
Right.
So I'm definitely very looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. They've got a lot of cool features. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on them so we can get some more information about it. I also I didn't hear about this until the Kickstarter closed, which they did reach their goal. They surpassed their goal of $100,000. And so it's going in right now. The early access that they have is only for Kickstarter supporters, but it's going to open up to more people. So I put my name on a mailing list so I can hopefully get a look at it and tell you guys more about it once I get my hands on it. So stay
Do you have a link
tuned.
you can drop in the chat?
Yeah, I will get one as soon as we're done here, and then we can add that to the notes on the video as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, check the video notes below, and there's probably a link to the mailing list you can get to early access eventually. But in the meantime, let's talk about G.I. Joe and Transformers and My Little Pony. They are getting an RPG. So speculation's been floating around for the past few weeks that has finally been confirmed. Renegade Game Studios has officially announced in a press release that they're partnering with Hasbro to produce card and role-playing games with Transformers, G.I. Joe, and My Little Pony brands. According to the press release, they intend to create both tabletop role-playing games and deck-building games with these properties. Since Renegade Game Studios is partnering with Hasbro on this initiative, it should come as no surprise that they'll be designing these tabletop RPGs using the D&D 5e rules, as Hasbro owns Wizard of the Coast, the company that makes D&D. They stated that, quote, "We want to use the system that's most common and widely known. 5th edition at this point is the common language in RPGs. We went back and forth in our discussions, but we landed on 5th edition being what we wanted to use to achieve our design goals." Renegade Game Studios has stated that using the common 5e system across the properties will allow the player to do crossover games where the Joes team up with the Autobots, and I guess Twilight Sparkle and her pals. But it sounds pretty exciting that for that. Crossover play sounds fun and all, but I don't it can't be that easy, right? The systems for these games, don't they have to be sort of like tailored for the different worlds? Do you think they'll be able to make some sort of, they'll have to do like a companion book or a guide for a crossover play? I can't imagine the dice rolls look the same for giant Autobots as they do for, excuse me.
I mean, the systems I'm sure will be similar enough, and then it's just, oh, okay, well, you're using this set of specific rules, then, you just have to know those rules. But I don't know. I don't see why it would be.
It depends on what you're going for, right? Because if you're going for the 80s cartoon vibe, then absolutely a G.I. Joe can take down a Transformer, right?
Well, fair.
I don't know, something about this is not sitting right with me. I don't know, it seems weird to me. The 5th edition seems like a really weird choice for, G.I. Joe, sure. But the other two don't seem to fit to
what
me.
about there's already role-playing games out for, say, My Little Pony? I know.
Mm-hmm.
We've played that on this network before.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. The My Little Pony thing sits wrong with you. You guys know how much I love the My Little Pony role-playing game by River Horse that exists out there, Tales of Equestria.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might not be surprised to hear that it irks me a little bit that they're going to be shoving 5e system up the butt of My Little Ponies, and then making it work. When there's a small time My Little Pony game that exists now with a rule system custom made for My Little Pony that works amazingly for the world of My Little Pony, and it fits so perfectly. And now I feel like it's way less likely that people are going to discover that game, because if they want to play My Little Pony, like this new one is going to be in front of everybody's face. Now, I'm not trying to say that that's inherently a bad thing.
Do we know anything about Renegade Game Studios?
They make
They sound familiar.
Yeah, they make a lot of different things. I just played a card game called The Fox in the Woods or something.
Are they officially affiliated with Hasbro at all?
No, they're
I
just
guess my
partnering
question
with
is
them.
like, why, if they're using 5e and it's Hasbro properties, why not sublet to Wizards, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah, or what makes this so different than a DM's Guild project?
I
For that matter.
mean, it strikes me as weird. Like, I'm not downing on it, because I don't know anything about it. It just seems like a weird.
Renegade Game Studios were the ones who made. This was talked about a lot in the press releases and in the news. They're the ones who made recently the the Power Rangers game. There was a board game, Power Rangers, and I think
they're leaning into this nostalgia niche. Apparently,
yes, exactly. And I think that's why they're letting them go with it, because they've shown the Power Rangers game was really popular. It was a big success, and so they're just probably leveraging their ability to take this sort of.
I wish I knew how to leverage stuff like that. I can't get a hold of anybody. Like, licensing stuff is just absolutely, it's impossible to break in. So, I mean, on that level, good for you, Renegade Games.
Says
I
the
know
person who scooped up misspent youth recently.
because the other anarchist in the industry gave it to me.
Right? But, like,
Well, that's how you
I'm
leverage.
just saying,
That's what
I'm
leverage
just
is.
saying you don't have zero leverage, okay?
That's true. So now, if there's any other anarchists willing to get out of the business, you know where to take your games.
So of note, Renegade Game Studios also did the Altered Carbon role-playing game, Alice is Missing, Kids on Bikes. So they have some
Kids on
RPGs
Bikes.
at
That's
their
what I was
belt.
trying to remember. Yeah.
They've also done the Clank deck building game. They've done Ex Libris, which is a game I love. Lanterns,
Yeah,
Outbreak
Wow,
Undead.
all
and,
right.
like,
You've heard of them
Yeah,
because
no,
they make a lot of good
I have to
games.
say, this sounds a lot less in Wizards of the Coast house, so that makes me feel better about it.
Right.
yeah.
Well,
Well, all right, go Renegade. Good
Yeah.
for you.
so that'll be it.
Oh,
did you?
Overlight. No, sorry. No, I was just like, Overlight. That was another RPG they did.
Oh, right. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well, those are some of the things in the world of tabletop this week. If you know some other news stories you'd like us to discuss, then you should head over to our Discord server at shadowcasters.network/Discord. Let us know there. There's a channel there just for suggesting news items for this segment. If you don't want to do that, you can always contact us at contact@shadowcasters.network. or tweet us at SRCasters. And if you like what we're doing here, please consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/shadowcasters. At the very least, subscribe and click the bell icon so that you can be told when we do more news every week. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week for some more tabletop news.